Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going today? It's Coach Alvarez back at you again. Another episode of Coffee with Coach. Hope everyone out there is doing well, really well. Up, making some moves, getting the mind right. And if your mind isn't right, then we're going to help get it right this morning. Got a good one for you today. It was really good. Like I said, all this stuff is really good. I get into all this stuff, man. I love this stuff. But I think a lot of people can really relate to this one here, because some of this stuff is like, I know it's going to go one ear and out the other. Good morning, guys. Because you just don't want to hear certain things yet. You don't want to hear about discipline and eating right and working out and putting your mind in the right place and stuff like that. So that stuff doesn't register right away. But today, it's good stuff, because I think everyone at some point or another all have to deal with this here. So today we're going to talk about, it's still in the Jocko book. Make sure I'm giving him his cred. I'm still in the same books. I got a couple books here. I'll get into those later, but still in this book here. And it's called Regret. The chapter is called Regret. And how many of us all have something that we regret or wish we could take back? But unfortunately, we can't. So it says, regret, the things I could have done differently or learned sooner. There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better. And we make so many mistakes. We are the product of our mistakes. Man, that's huge. We are the product of our mistakes. And oftentimes the lesson is sitting in front of our face, there to be learned, but we miss it or don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better until it punches us in the face. The most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. And we can learn from school and people and experience in life, but you have to process the information, absorb it. You have to accept it. You have to open your mind, free your mind, so that you can learn and make real progress. Are there things I regret and things I wish I had done differently? Of course. Hindsight is 20/20, and looking back, who wouldn't want to take another go at something and improve by doing it again? And then why not do it again and again and again? Who wouldn't want to do things over until you had it perfect? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. You get one shot. We get one shot at this gig right here, life. One life, that's all we've got. And the most important thing to understand about regret is that in and of itself, regret is worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only thing valuable in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. So learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No, let it teach you, let it make you better. Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now. Take action now to become a person not filled with regret, but a person filled with knowledge, strength, power, and life. Yes, that's fire right there, because, you can put regret in so many different things of your life. Things that you've done a long time ago, things that you did last week, a month ago, a year ago. For me, jiu-jitsu, on the mats, off the mats, in a tournament, a decision made in a match that cost me the match. You name it, relationships, like friendships, whatever. There's so much stuff that we make mistakes on that, at least me for sure, have so many of them that if I was to sit around and, like this is talking about here, walk through life, just dwelling on the regrets, the mistakes that I've made, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be going forward. I'd just be in a standstill or just going backwards. So I think, like I said in the beginning, before I started here, I think we all have this to relate to, because everyone out there has a regret of some sort, of something. No one's perfect. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But I think some of us can handle those mistakes better than others. And at least me personally, I know a few people, family members that really get down on themselves about the mistakes that they made, and it just holds them back to where they just can't get out of their own head. They're their own worst enemy. They don't understand that that's what this life is about. I'm older than the people that I'm talking about, and so they don't understand. Now, back probably when I was, early 20s, something like that, I probably would obviously don't have the mindset that I have now because I'm a lot older. I've read a lot more. I've learned a lot more. I've made a lot more mistakes. I understand that's how it works, but sometimes younger people or just anyone make a mistake and it just eats at you so bad that you're not doing anything to progress forward or to make going forward better. Or we make the same mistakes over and over and over again, to where we just kind of get used to making those mistakes, and then now we're talking to ourselves we're worthless, not worth much, never gonna get better, never gonna improve. I guess this is the way life is supposed to be for me. I was born to be like cursed, I guess, because I keep making these mistakes. Why do these things happen to me? And the list goes on. I mean, like I said, before the virus and everything and the stay-at-home orders and stuff like that, me as a coach throughout all these years, I've talked to so many people. Plus, I'm a people person. I love to talk to people. Like, I love asking questions. Where are you from? What do you do? Just whatever. And then, stories come out, things come out. I'll share my things and stuff like that. So just over time, you get to hear people talk about themselves, and then you can get a good understanding of just over time throughout life, this individual's made so many mistakes that I guess they feel like they are a mistake. They are a mistake. Maybe they don't feel like they should be here. Maybe they feel like they shouldn't been born, born as a mistake, however the case may be. But this stuff here really helps. That's why it's important that you have to just, like it says, open your mind and grab a hold of information like this. And that's why I'm sharing it, because some people just don't know stuff out there is like this. And you can relate to it, and you can, if you have the right mindset, you can absorb it and be like, yeah, we've made so many mistakes, but that's not who I am. I'm not that mistake, and I can do better, so I'm going to do better. I'll put it in jiu-jitsu perspective. I've had so many students, just whether they're competitors or not, make mistakes, or they see like other people on the mat that they kind of envy, their jiu-jitsu. They see how good they are and they want to be that. And they, make so many mistakes on the mats or whatever that they just don't feel like they're ever going to get to that level or ever be that good. And I have to tell them, like, that's what jiu-jitsu is. Like, jiu-jitsu is a great way to just kind of put life in perspective, because every time you step on the mat and you shake hands with someone, the chances of you getting tapped are right there, getting choked out, dominated, just having, some days you have good days, some you have bad days. I talk about sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, sometimes you're the board, man, where like you just had an awful day, but that's not who you are. It's just happened. It's just that one day on the mat, you shake it off, brush it off, ask questions, get the answers to it, and then you come back and try again the next day, or a tournament. I've had so many students compete and they've lost the tournament, put in so much work, trained really hard, dieted, cut the weight, did all the drills, and then they go out and compete and then they lose, and then they try to, my advice to them is because they want to quit, they don't want to compete anymore or try anymore, that I have to tell them, like, that it doesn't define you. One tournament doesn't define you. 4 or 5 tournament losses doesn't define you. I mean, I have students that lost numerous tournaments in a row, flew all over the country in a row, and then finally broke through. I think one of them was like the 8th tournament, where most people would have quit and gave up. But this individual didn't. He became one of my best students. And you know, I got another friend, man. He's lost so many tournaments, but he keeps competing because why? Because he loves competing. He's improving. He sees the improvements, even though he's coming up short. His mindset is just where it should be, and I like that about him because it's like, man, how many people can really take that many losses, flying all over the country? Not talking about driving locally. I'm talking about flying all over the country to compete and taking L's, but keeps coming back for more, keeps showing up to practice the next day, keeps bringing the heat to me, and just doesn't bother me. He's like, one day, you know, it's going to happen, and as long as I don't quit. And that's the mentality that a lot of us got to have, because the regret will just eat us up, man. The regret will it'll just eat you alive. So if you're out there, obviously there's no one out there that's never made a mistake. So obviously we all have some type of regret of what we wish we could go back and change, but we can't. What can you do to go forward? How is your mindset going to be today, starting today, if you haven't changed it already? What changes are you going to make? What changes are you going to make in your mind? Get rid of some of the, you know, the crap that's in your head. Start peeling those layers back and just replacing it with like really good stuff. And, you know, try to make, let's say the first 40 years, like for me, 45, years old, first 45 years is pretty crappy. Well, what about the next 45? You know, I've had a pretty, pretty good life, but I've had some pretty big downfalls in between there. And my mindset is like, okay, well, I've done this up until this point. What's the next half of my life going to be? Because I'm pretty much almost at half. I'm 45. So hopefully I can make it, 90 something, 100 years old. And I look forward to, like, man, that's a lot of time for me to just do a lot of things, get better, improve, and whatnot. So you're out there, you're holding on to some things, you should let them go so that you can improve and go forward. Some of those things are always going to be there, no doubt, but to just let it sit there and hold you back from improving and even, like I said, relationships, I deal with so many people and students, I've had, not even talking jiu-jitsu, but burned in relationships, friends and stuff like that in the past, and students as well. You do so much for so many students. You help them out, you keep them on their feet. You coach them, you do this, you do that, you go all over the world with them or all over the country. And, one day they just feel like they don't need you no more, and they ghost on you, and they're just out. That shouldn't stop me from treating my next student that walks in the door and give them the best, because they might do that to me again. I know coaches like that. I know people like that. Like, hey, there's a wall there. And yeah, it sucks. No one wants to get burned. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, like I've said already, but I'm not going to shortchange the next person walking in my door and give them 100% everything I got, and give them all the coaching I can give them, because I might get burned one day, 5 years, 10 years from now, when they don't feel like they need me anymore. It is what it is, and I'll just keep it moving. So don't let that regret hold you back, guys. If that's you and it's really getting at you today, try to let it go. Try to make some moves to go forward, and hopefully this helps. All right. So again, if you're not making moves, let's make them. It's tough. I know that for a lot of us jiu-jitsu school owners and stuff like that, business owners, we got some bad news yesterday from the governor and stuff like that. It's not good. But I gotta keep my mind in the right place. Keep doing. I was really busy yesterday. I worked out all day. I gotta work out to just stay busy. I don't like just sitting down, because that's when things really start to eat at me. So I'm definitely staying in shape. So stay in shape too. Take care of your body. Keep your mind right. And we'll catch you guys next time. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you.